Okay, good morning. And we will start with our foot massages. Can get the tennis balls out of the cabinet and just start with rolling the ball under your foot, which is also a standing balance. So you get to stand on one foot and just go forward and back, run like the length of your foot. Maybe find a little spot where that feels extra good and can give yourself a little more TLC in that area. You can also just kind of clench your toes around the ball, which will also stretch the top of the foot a little bit. So just taking our time can get into our heel, the arches, ball of the foot, behind the toes. Some circles, can do the other foot. Maybe some more circle, heel, forward and back. Good. And then when you're ready, I'm going to show you something with a calf stretch. So typically we've been using a block. You can use the taller one or the shorter one. Bringing your toes to the block and our heel to the mat to really stretch the back of the calves, behind the knees, lengthening. But not just even here in class. This is something we can do off the mat when we're at home. So maybe finding something at your house that you can use. This is a half dome block. And this is a really great one for calf stretches. Could even slide it like underneath the counter, like underneath your baseboards by your kitchen sink or by your countertop where you're working, especially if you're going to be working for a while, preparing a meal. Could be stretching at the same time. Or even in your bathroom, could have it like near your bathroom vanity. Or a rolled up yoga mat. Does the exact same job. And it will squish. So it's about the same height as what the half dome roller is. Nice thing about a yoga mat too is you can use both feet and do both feet at the same time. And it does feel pretty safe. Like it feels like you're able to do that without losing your balance because it's a wider space for your stretch. So if you have an extra yoga mat laying around, it could have a purpose. You can do a lot of things with extra yoga mats. I like to cut mine into smaller mats and use them, for kneeling on. I've used them for shelf liners in my laundry room. I've used them for gardening, all kinds of things you can do with your old yoga mats. Or one more option is just a rolled up towel. Just a regular towel can also do that same, not as deep, but can still do a calf stretch with a rolled up towel. You can lift your toes when you're doing that, just to deepen your stretch. So you press into the ball of the foot and the heel, make that connection, and then lift the toes. Maybe spread your toes apart. A few little splaying out of the toes. And then from our calf stretch, can step one foot back, press your toenails towards the mat, and lengthen. Can use the wall at any point if you'd like to use the wall. And then go ahead and stretch the other side, pressing your toenails towards the floor. Good. So we'll go ahead and get started. Let's bring our block between our legs, hugging the block to activate inner thighs, squeezing into the block and holding. So we root down through the legs. So there's a lot of work from the waist down of an active, energetic activation and just really muscling our way into our standing position, our first one being mountain pose. We'll open out the palms, let right ear move towards the right shoulder. I may have a visitor named Homer come in. He's very curious. Willie is at Tori's house with his brother and sister because we were supposed to be in Springfield this week. But that didn't happen. That's okay. Let the neck lengthen, left ear towards the left shoulder. There's Homer. He has the tennis ball, of course. And then back to center. We'll bring our hands behind our back, interlace fingers or do fists in the lower back. Open up the heart space and taking our gaze up towards the ceiling, lengthening the front of the neck. And then come to center and a half forward fold. Just hinging from our hips. We'll bring our hands to our thighs, so we're like an upside down L. Thank you. He is purring. You probably can't hear him. But I know you think you're really special, don't you? Because you are the only one here this week. And then we'll bend our knees and let our tailbone tuck in, let our chin tuck in a gentle forward fold. Maybe move a little. Walk your hands to one side, then to the other. And then come back to center. We'll straighten legs in that half forward fold, lining up our head, or the crown of our head with the tailbone. So we're not hanging low or we're not going up too high, but just about middle. Straight line. Take a few breaths here. Draw your belly in as you exhale, keeping chin neutral. And then release. We'll bend our knees, draw your belly in and slowly come up one vertebrae at a time. Inhale the arms tall. Exhaling to chair. We'll bring our palms down and hug the block. And then keep going. Sweeping arms tall. Exhale, chair. Flowing with our breath. So we can match our breath and movement together. Lifting, reaching on our inhale. Exhaling, draw in. We'll add a right side twist. Prayer hands to heart. Taking our gaze to the right. Again, let's keep strong through our feet and hugging the block, which really, really helps keep the hips squared and the knees centered so we're not twisting our bottom way to the side. And then once we do that, it automatically brings extra torque into our knees. And then we're coming back to center and a left side twist. Turn towards the camera. And then release to half forward fold. Straighten the back of the legs. Lengthening. And we're reversing our swan dive. Draw your belly in, kind of a scoop and lift. Strong. Inhale, sweep the arms tall. And exhale, hands into heart. Let's go and take our block out. We'll keep it over here to the side. So from the top of our mat, let's step our right foot back in a lunge. We're lifting the right heel. Somebody is being very curious. Raise and lower right heel. Hey, pressing down into the toes and into the ball of the foot as we raise the heel. So we're bringing that work really into our legs. We're not trying to lunge forward, but just keep it more of a straight up and down movement. Checking in. And keeping our heel lifted. Let's add the arms. Sweep tall. Exhale and bring fists in towards the waist. Hug the elbows back as you're bringing the elbows back and then lengthening. And exhale. Draw your belly in. Squeeze towards the spine and squeeze elbows back. Continuing to root down through our feet. And on this last one, we'll bring our hands together, looking to the left and then moving elbows that direction. Twisting. And then we're coming back to center. We'll set the right foot up, shake it out, move a little side to side. And I'm going to take the left foot back, starting out with our heel lifts, raise and lower, left heel, rolling up onto the foot. And there's going to be more of a stretch coming through the arch of the foot as we roll onto the ball of the foot and even behind our toes. And being barefoot or in our socks allows us to feel this and allows us to deepen not only the muscle awareness, the stretching, the muscles we have in our feet, but it also is enhancing proprioception. And if you're getting attacked by sharp claws on your heel, off. Then let's add the heel lifting and some arms out. Exhale, bring fists in. I don't trust somebody who might be behind me. Inhaling and lifting. Exhale, bring fists into waist. And we'll keep going. Really squeeze elbows. Squeeze your belly in towards the spine. And then we'll add a gentle twist, looking to the right and bringing prayer hands to the right side. I probably have blood dripping down my ankle right now. Oh, goodness. Come back to center. And we'll step our left foot to the front. Not too bad. Shake it out. And then we're going to come into our warrior one. Let's set the right foot back. Plant that heel so our foot is flat. And we're adding our goalpost arms here in front. And exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, open out, bend your knee. So you're letting yourself sink and then straighten on your exhale. Inhaling, strong. Exhale, bring it into heart. Inhale, exhale to heart. Let's do 2 more. One more. Clearing space. Getting ready for spring cleaning. Can add the goalpost arms here, bent knee, holding. And then extend through your arms, palms towards the walls. Can lift your fingertips. And then bring your hands back. We'll bring our fists into the low back and shoulders forward. Or we can bring hands to our hips. So that's another option here. And continue to really root down through both feet. Strong in your feet. Strong ankles. Strong toes. And as we lift our head, let's step right foot to the front. And shake it out. Move a little side to side or a standing mountain twist. Letting your arm open out and lift the opposite heel. Just to create a little more flow, a little more release. Hip, knee, ankle. And a nice shoulder opener at the same time. So we're going to come back into Warrior One. Step the left foot back. I'm going to turn this direction this time on my mat. Bring your heel to the floor and our right knee is bent. I'll step back just a little bit further. There. So you can see my knee stays bent in our first position with goalpost arms. And then straighten, prayer hands to heart. Inhale, bent knee, open out. Exhale, prayer hands to heart. So that's the flow. Then with our breath, exhale to heart. Inhale, open out. Squeeze. So add a little more chest expansion each time. Lifting the heart, take the elbows back. And you're going to arch the back just a teeny bit more. Squeeze elbows. Strong feet. One more. And hold here with our bent knee. Again, checking in, really, really super strong from the waist down. Strong legs, strong through our feet and ankles. And we're adding the arms. Maybe sliding one hand around opposite wrist, prayer hands, or even hugging opposite elbows here. That's going to challenge our balance because it's just bringing in our limbs, which are the counterbalancing here, or our levers, bringing them in closer to the body, into the midline, and then bring shoulders forward. So there's lots of ways we challenge our balance even before we do what is technically a standing balance. Might even feel a little shakiness working in the legs, ankles, straightening up. We'll come back to center. And again, releasing. Can do our little mountain twist flow. And then as we come back to center, inhale, reach the arms tall. Exhaling, come into chair. Bring fists in towards our waist. Inhale, reach tall. Exhale, bring fists in. Let's do that 2 more times. Taking our hips back. Draw the belly in. Keeping our knees above, directly above the ankles as much as possible in chair. So as we come into chair, and let's hold. So it's like we're sitting back, tailbone towards an invisible chair. Let's bring our hands into heart and lift the right heel. Focusing our eyes towards the mat will help stabilize our balance. Then we're switching sides. Let's lift the left heel. Maybe energetically add a little more work here, pressing palms together and hands and each finger. And release. Sweeping arms tall, inhaling and lifting. Exhale into heart. From our mountain pose to warrior two, right foot steps back. We'll turn our toes to the long side of the mat. And then we're bending left knee. And again, keep it directly above the ankle. We're not leaning way forward. And just finding where that's comfortable, where we can hold it for a while. And if at any point you want to straighten it, you can straighten it. And lifting our arms to shoulder height. Our first position, we're taking our gaze over left hand. And breathe. If we're taking care of shoulders or arms, and want to bring that hand to our waist at any point, we're also totally free to do that. Left hand can reach. As we take our gaze up, we're challenging our balance. Maybe lifting the chin. Our arm is lifting close to the body, but at the same time raising it taller. Just getting comfortable in uncomfortable space. Maybe it's a little shaky. Hold on. And then slowly looking down, we'll bring our left arm to our left thigh. Taking our gaze to the right side and bringing right hand over the heart. Lift the elbow and unhinge to reach tall towards the ceiling. Maybe watch your arm, track your movements with a circle. One direction and then the other. Then let's bring that right arm over the right ear, an extended angle. Reaching, lengthening, side body stretch. And then transitioning strong, we'll bring our right hand to our hip and draw our belly in to lift. And let's straighten the left leg with our hands on our hips. Tilt left elbow towards the front in a gentle triangle. Holding here. And then drawing in to lift. We'll move to pyramid pose, turning our hips towards the front of our mat, stacking or centering our hips, square with the shoulders, and then let's straighten our legs. We can bring our fingertips into the hip creases and lengthen to a half forward fold or anywhere in between there. We can also shift our hands, bringing our hands to the hips. And then lifting. As we come back to the front of our mats in mountain pose, just that gentle mountain twist, open out on our exhale. Taking our gaze behind us as we open. A shoulder opener as we open up the arm, but also just a gentle twist. And that connection again with our breathing brings us more focus. It's kind of calming and lets you catch your breath. So we still have more work to do. As we come back into a mountain pose, we're going to shift to the other side and stepping our left foot back, turn the toes to the long side of the mat. And our right foot is at the front. As we lift our arms, we're bringing right arm to the front to look over, left arm and back at shoulder level, or you can adjust and bring your hand to your hip if that's an area that's healing. Holding here. We'll reverse with right palm lifting and again taking your gaze up to a spot where you find a little, maybe a challenge. Maybe open the throat, the chin can be a little taller. And then side angle. Right arm can float to the right thigh. Left hand can come from our waist to the heart. Lift the elbow. So we're pointing elbow straight up to where all we have to do is unhinge. Circle forward and back. And then extending. We're going to bring left arm over the left ear. Keep pressing down through the feet. And then releasing. Move strong. Use your transition strong. Draw your belly in to triangle pose, and we're having our hands on our hips to tilt that right elbow towards the floor and really lengthening this left side body from the outside edge of our hip up the waist, through the ribs. And we're keeping a lot of openness here. Left shoulder stacking over right, or left lung over the right lung if you want to think of your organs. And then lifting and turn towards the front to step left foot up, about halfway, in pyramid pose. And bringing our hands back to hips, low back, or maybe interlacing or reaching one hand behind the opposite wrist. Bring shoulders forward. As we come back to center, we can shake it out. Move around, a little mountain twist. And then we're going to do a standing balance challenge. From mountain pose, we're going to cross over, right foot over the left, just so the outside edges of our feet are touching, like an X with our legs, hugging the legs. And we're adding the arms. So with our arms, we're going to do an X as well and bring the right arm under, left arm over, holding or can touch the arms. Crossing the limbs challenges both sides of the brain. And then we've got our feet narrower than hip width apart. So that's challenging our center of gravity and our center of balance. And then if we have extra tightness in the shoulders or even in our hips or legs, we feel some of that extra exertion that goes into stabilizing a balance challenge. So there's lots of elements that go into balance, not just my balance is good or bad. Think about it. Is it crossing limbs? Is it narrower than hip width apart? Where do you focus your eyes? We can focus down to stabilize, up to challenge. So if this is super easy, challenge yourself. Look up. Or maybe try closing your eyes. Work that inner sense of balance as we can also shake things out and switch sides and bring our left foot over. And then it will be left arm under. Make an X. So we're really scrambling our brain, both sides of the brain, to cross the limbs. And then we're bringing them over that midline as well as narrower than hip width, narrower than shoulder width apart. So the wider we move our limbs out, the more stabilization they offer. Awesome. And release. And shake it out. Move around a little. Then we're going to come on down to the mat. We'll start with some seated poses. If you want to practice going to the mat without using your hands, you can step back in a lunge and just bring your hands to your knee, your front knee. Let your back knee come to the mat. Then you can even slide that other knee back. Let's see if we can do it without hands. So on your knees, but if you want to use your hands, feel free to. So I will give that disclaimer. You can swing your feet around, come to your bottom, extend your legs out in front, and kind of walk forward and back. Find your sits bones. as we balance. So we want to sit as tall as we can, shoulders over the hips, like an L. Find your L shape. Press down through the heels, we're flexing our feet, and then alternate, pointing one foot, then the other, pointing, flexing. Imagine that we could even draw that foot in closer towards the knee that of the foot we're flexing. And then from here, inhale the arms tall. Exhaling to half forward fold, keeping our back nice and long, spine nice and long. And then just kind of shift from side to side, leg to leg. You can take a few breaths here and let our exhale bring in a little more relaxation. Sending that message to our brain to soften rather than trying to force deeper into a stretch. Stretch your toes, pull on them, separate, curl. And then we're going to sit back up, bring your right leg in, and do some circles with your pointy toe. Circle around, one direction, then the other. Then bring that foot in to your elbow and we're rocking our baby. Still sitting tall, keeping shoulders over the hips. This is one where we tend to want to cave and round in, finding length in the spine. Very nice. And then as we bring our right foot over the left knee, we're going to switch into a twist. I'm going to turn around. Hug your left hand around the right knee and sitting tall. We'll bring right hand back to support as we twist towards our right side. Still keeping that same alignment of crown of head over the tailbone, spine is long. And then we'll switch sides. So starting with the left foot with some circles. So we're going to point one direction and circle, then the other. And then rock your baby. So bring that foot into your elbow, move around side to side. And then we can take it into spinal twist. So we're having our left foot cross over the right knee to the floor. Right hand to wrap around the left knee. So we're twisting towards the left side. So it's not just a twist through the lower back, but it's also from the heart. So we open up and twist from the left side of the chest. And then we come back to center. We'll walk our hands back, and this can be our hands flat or fists if we're taking care of our wrists. And rather than putting pressure or weight bearing into the wrists, can keep the fists pressing down into our mat, lifting the chin and open up the front of the neck. Another option here is to come into a tabletop and lift your hips to shoulder height. Squeeze and hold. Come back to center. And then we'll be coming onto our backs, bringing our knees in. Give yourself a big hug. If you feel chilled and want to add a layer, feel free to add a layer here, a jacket, your socks. As we go into colder weather, we want to keep that warmth in our muscles. Now we're going to come all the way flat on our back. I'm going to use this for a little neck roll. So I'm going to keep it long towards my head and the short little rolled up in towards the back of my neck. And as I roll onto the mat, keep your block close by. I'm just going to bring that neck roll up into the base of my neck and put a little extra cushioning behind my head. Just take a couple of breaths here with our knees bent, feet are hip width apart, and just kind of a relaxed posture here, not working in this particular position. And just feel. Check in. Feel your spine nice and long on your mat. Check in. Is there any tension or tightness in the low back or the hips, even in the shoulders or the neck? And you can just acknowledge it, have awareness. Don't have to label it or add a value to it. Rather, we're just going to take care of, be kind to those areas. We'll start to bring our knees in towards the chest. Give ourselves a hug. Can move a little side to side. Massage the belly as we're hugging the knees in. Just start to gradually make it a little bigger. A bigger circle, maybe a bigger hug. It's where all of a sudden we're going to start to find the mat with our feet and make those circles a little bit more side to side and come into windshield wipers, feet wider than hip width apart. Just slide them out to the edges of the mat. Exhaling as we let the knees go to one side. Inhale to center. Exhaling, let the knees move to the other side. Just slow things down. Part of the beauty is we get to have class and just that reminder of breathing with our movement, softening with stretches. Find a little more space available as we relax. Let the arms be open wide and our palms up. Let the back of our hands just rest on the floor. Let your fingers feel soft. And then we're going to start to slide the feet back in closer to hip width apart and cross the right ankle to the left knee in a figure 4. We'll reach our arms through and back behind the left leg. Bring the knees in closer. Flex the right foot. And again, maybe it feels good to move a little side to side here. We're just holding and breathing, especially if this is extra tension in the lower back or even in the hips. Option, we can add an extended leg. Maybe reach your left foot towards the ceiling. You can bring your hands to the right foot and the right knee, or a big toe hold, reach up for that left foot. And then let your breath do the rest. So feel how your belly inflates like a balloon on your inhale and then softens and relaxes on your exhale. And then as we release, we'll cross over into a spinal twist. Both knees to our left side. So we can have left leg straight. Or you can have that both knees bent and your right ankle still outside the left knee like you had in figure 4. Or maybe stack both knees on top of each other. What feels good to you in your spinal twist today, in your body? And then right hand over the heart or the shoulder can open out. And there's where we want to connect, and anchoring down through the right hand, elbow and shoulder, those joints. And then slowly maybe take your gaze that direction, looking towards the right side. Another option here is if you're taking care of a shoulder, like say your right shoulder, you can bring your right hand to your right hip and anchor down through the right elbow and take some of that strain off of the right shoulder. Still opening up the heart space. And find where each exhale creates just a little more relaxation. So if you're feeling stiff and tense and tight, maybe bring your arm in a little closer. Still benefit from the twist. And then gradually roll onto your back. Center your back and your shoulders. You can bring both of your feet to the mat. And then both knees in and give yourself a big hug. Massage your belly a little bit. Press your knees in towards your belly. And then come into figure 4. Left ankle crosses over the right knee. Maybe holding here, or lift and bring them in for a hug. You can also use your hand towel here, like a strap in your hands, just to get a little more length in the arms. It makes your arms a little bit longer. If this is a stretch that you want to have a little more freedom and length in your arms, that's always a really great option. You can try extended leg. But also check in low back. Remember, low back. It's still our friend here wanting relaxation onto the mat, connection to the mat. So a lot of length here, not just this deep 6 stretch. Piriformis, really great release. And then when you're ready, twist to the right side. So we're going to take both legs to the right, open out left arm. And again, you can stay in this twisted 4 or stack both knees on top of each other in a spinal twist, or straighten the right leg underneath leg, bottom leg. And we'll be coming back to center, giving our knees a hug and just flat on our back. And then from here, we're going to come into a final resting pose. So for our final resting pose today, find what feels good to you. You can have your knees bent if that allows for more softening in the lower back. If your back is tight, just recognize that and be aware of that. And it's more about how can I rest and just gently still be able to breathe and not feel like I'm clenching or tightening up. So we want to still have softness, or can have legs extended. Maybe even open out the arms. Palms can be up. Do maybe a few more pointing, flexing the feet, and then relax. Just let the ankles, let the toes relax out. So maybe it's right here and just kind of like a big open, like a 5-pointed star resting on our back. Or maybe another hip opener is to do a half butterfly. Bring your right foot inside left leg, and then exhale. Soften the right knee out towards the side of the mat. Maybe take about 2 minutes here and then switch to the other side. So you have options, and you have the opportunity to make this what is best for you today in your body. And you can stay here for a few more minutes, just resting. The floor supports us, keeps us in alignment. And start to move around a little, and when you're ready, roll to a side lying position. Then we'll use that top hand, press down, use your arm strength, support with your hands to come up to seated. You can sit cross-legged, or you can have your legs extending in front. Find your sits bones, root down, sitting tall. Relax the hands, palms up. Let's end with head rolls, circling one direction and then the other. And as we come back to center, inhale, reach the arms tall. And exhale, prayer hands to heart. And thank you. Have a blessed day. And if you would like, with cleaning up, there are disinfecting wipes. Can wipe down the mat, the blocks. If you want to use them on your mat, you're welcome to. And then just go ahead and wipe down each ball, and they can go back into the bag and into the little pantry area where they're stored. Thank you so much. See you next week.